This meeting is called to order. Compliance with open meetings law.
You just walked in.
Open.
Roll call.
Cow,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
Rancid,
Here.
and May is here.
Approval of the minutes from February 9th and February 23rd, 2015 meetings.
Make a motion to approve minutes from February 9th and February 23rd, 2015.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from February 9th, February 23rd meetings. Any discussion?
Yeah, for some reason, March 6th isn't on there. The meeting we had March 6th. The minutes are in your packet.
Do you want
Vote
to,
on this and then we'll have that.
or do you want to amend that motion to include those other ones?
Okay, I'll amend the motion to include March 6th meeting also.
Second that amendment.
Okay, it's been moved to approve February 23rd meeting and amended to include the March 3rd, March 6th meeting. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Treasurer's report.
Got new context, I gotta get my senior eyes out. The general fund has $178,610.70 in it. Tax account has $36,129.32. Part of that was the money I didn't bring over for the garbage pickup, so that'll be about $34,000 of that. Airport has $36,163.15. I haven't heard from Don if he wrote that check or not for roughly $26,000 for the hangar, so I don't know if he's written that check or not. The LGIP has $72,308.51. The LGIP EMS has $2.62. The LGIP Airport has 55 cents in it. And the checks written for the month were advanced disposal for $76.21.31. Stafford Rosenbaum for $1,128. The Daily Jefferson Union for the caucus notice for $43.60. We Energy Street Lights for $54.85. Jefferson County Clerk for the ballot costs and publications for November election $249.39. Northwest Services for snow plowing and road cleanup for $31,971.90. CenturyLink for phone and internet $135.03. We Energy is a building and electric cost for $459.67. A check to me for $25 for community center rental for their annual meeting. William made $154.37 for the clerk's salary, and Mary Coffey $69.40 for the board chair salary.
Don told me he did send in that check.
I did? Okay. He hasn't given me the amount yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was $25,900 something.
Okay.
That was the airport's cost of the hangars, around $25,900. That was their share.
The sponsor fee.
Sponsor.
Yeah.
Sponsor fee.
They'll have about $10,000, a little over that left in their checking account.
Motion to approve. Treasurer's report.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve the treasurer's report. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Emergency management plan.
No updates on that.
Fire department.
Bill, we didn't get a report, did we, of any
No.
sort? No.
They do have a new public safety director, and maybe we could contact him and see if he'll come to our meetings.
Okay. I'll give him a call.
report?
Nothing new.
Blue Spring Lake Management District?
Nothing new. We're having a meeting on the 21st, I believe.
Maybe a Saturday.
Yep,
Is that here?
yes. A quarterly meeting.
You have anything from the building inspector?
No.
Highways?
That's me. I don't have much new. I think we're gonna be starting to do some, potholing once it gets a little warmer. So if there are any specific spots that you know of, I would be happy to write those down. Otherwise, unless you have anything for me.
I'll take a ride tomorrow and find him and call you.
Okay.
Rob's been looking too. He called me today.
Yeah, he has been looking, so yeah. As long as we're communicating, I think that.
And we did have one problem with the mailbox last week.
Okay. Is there an address on that, or?
Yeah. West 1508 Marsh Road.
Alright. I will let him know we'll have somebody out there.
Okay, you can talk to her after the
Yeah, it's
meeting if
mine.
you want. It's
It's functional, it's just the plastic's broken.
Okay, we can get that taken care of.
Okay, great, thanks.
Correspondence?
Okay. I got something here from, it says local governments advanced courses on principles of parliamentary authority. If anybody's interested in, they have a schedule there for all their different meetings. This is from the DOA, local government reports. I guess they're having meetings on this, different conferences and things, starting February 26th through April 22nd, and where they're gonna be at. And registration for that, if anybody's interested in that. I got a letter from We Energies, and this needs to be filled out for road restrictions for their heavy equipment. I don't know who would do that.
I'll look at it.
Okay. And I have a couple letters from Stafford Rosenbaum regarding the current annexation. They're just letters from the attorney that they're communicating back and forth. This is a calendar year 2014 housing survey from the Demographic Services Center, and we need to fill this out by the 16th of March. Just how many new houses are built, or trailers and stuff like this, and I'll work on that, get that filled out. Here's something on some courses on asphalt road maintenance. I'll get it open, but unfortunately they're going to be tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday are their meetings, if anybody can make it to those. And here's one on work zone and flagger safety. They're having courses on that starting in April through sometime in May, if anybody's interested in that.
Yeah.
And one other thing here, this is what we keep getting from the Department of Workforce Development. I call them to find out what's going on, and apparently this is something we have to fill out every quarter, whether we have any unemployment wages or not. If it's not filled out, we get fined $100. And apparently we've been getting fined because she said somebody just keeps paying the fine.
It hasn't been us.
Well, when I first started here, it was like we had a $100 credit. So somebody was paying it, and they must have paid one too many times, I don't know. But anyways, I talked to her, and she's gonna send me some information, I'll get this filled out and get it up to date.
We need to find out who's sending that money, and they're sending it the wrong
I didn't
place.
sign any checks for them.
I do not know, she said somebody overpaid $100, and that's why we had a $100 credit, and now we don't. And this is zoning and land use permit from Robert Bevo, I assume that's how he pronounces it. They're building an overhang at their house at, the address, in 1623 County Road H. He's building an overhang and a new steel roof on the garage. Or not on the garage, a new steel roof over the whole house. That's what the permit was for. And that's all I have.
New business. Discussion and action to join other towns in Jefferson County in running the WTA press release regarding the state budget proposal to eliminate local assessment.
We talked about this a little bit at the District Towns Association meeting about the budget proposal. It's not gonna benefit anybody, any towns. The counties don't want it either. And so I'm going to, and this is certainly an inexpensive way, I think every town in the county signed on to this, it sounded like so far. So I'm gonna make a motion that we join, I think it's Koshkonong, it was actually,
I talked to the clerk of the town of Koshkonong, and they're going to, put the ad in the paper, and they're gonna bill the various towns in our district to share in the cost, and it might be about $53 unless they have more towns than they have so far. So it's like $250 to put in the ad.
I think a couple other towns probably got on board since you talked to her, so I think it's gonna be even less than that $53. I'm gonna make a motion that we pay that, whatever the cost is, and join with the other towns in place in the ad.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to share the cost of running the WTA press release to talk about our displeasure with the proposal to eliminate local assessment. They want to make the assessment county.
They want the county to take charge of it, the county doesn't want it either.
It would be 100% assessment every year, and we would be charged at what it cost us to have our properties reassessed. Every year, there would be no maintenance. So if it costs us $20,000 to do it when we have the full assessment, and we only pay $9,000 now for maintenance, we would pay $20,000 every year for that. It's just a round number, but
So the Towns Association is going to lobby against this, and we're going to contribute to their effort. Discussion and action on bike ride through the town. Oh, okay, sorry. You have a
I
motion?
made a motion, he seconded it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve joining the other towns in Jefferson County to run this, pay for the press release. All in favor?
aye.
Aye, motion carried. Discussion and possible action on bike ride through the town of Palmyra on Labor Day weekend 2015.
That's Memorial Day weekend.
Memorial Day?
My mind is always confused on which holiday is which, but that's Memorial Day weekend.
May 23rd.
Yeah.
May 23rd?
Yeah, this is 25th, but he did tell me it was May 23rd.
There was a conflict on the 25th with the parade that goes through town and the raising of the flag at the cemetery. That was a conflict, and so we, after that, we met with the village last week, and they said that there was no conflict on the 23rd, Saturday. And so our original plan was Monday, the 25th, and we changed it to the 23rd. There's no conflict as far as we're aware.
I put a map, wrote the map in your package if y'all want to look at the map they're going to be following through the town. Right to the end.
Do you have one?
Yeah, I have one, I have a comment too, say something.
Yep.
I've had several phone calls from town residents that are concerned about this, it's a race, is my understanding. Looks like a big event, is it pretty big?
I don't know what big means, but there's 300 to 400 would be our hope for the day. There's 10 different events throughout the day, starting with 15-year-olds starting off in the morning. They would do 2 laps, so you're looking at 10 to 15 riders in those events doing the course, which we're hoping to go Little Prairie all the way to Z. There's a four-way stop there, so we could turn right, and then the next ride would be Young. It's easier to control traffic because the people coming off of 67, there's a sharp bend before that, so they have to slow down. We were looking originally at using Tower Road, but our fear there is we wanted to do all right-hand turns so there's nobody crossing traffic. If you turn right on Tower, the next road when you turn, cars are kind of, at that point, hard to slow down. So the goal was to go to Z, and then when we turn right on Young, we'd be able to control traffic better at that intersection.
Well, I guess one of my big concerns, and one of the concerns that have been expressed to me, and I'm gonna speak on behalf of those people right now, is the fact that the route goes past Horseman's Park, it goes past, it crosses the horse trail twice, I think. And that, frankly, is the biggest weekend at Horseman's Park. This is huge. The people that participate in this and use that park have spent a ton of time and a ton of money making that park and those trails what they are. And I think it's something that's a real important part of this community. And I think, in my estimation, it's dangerous. There are, years and years ago, you had small trucks with 2-horse trailers pulling into Horseman's Park. We have huge rigs coming in and out of there today. This is a very heavily used park. And not to mention the fact that if you've got a lot of bikes on the road, most horses are comfortable with a bike. When you have a whole bunch of bikes coming down the road and you're trying to get a horse across, it's a problem. It can be. And if those horses have to bunch up and wait for the bikes to pass, there's not a place for them. It's not like they have a great big field to wait in.
What's the traffic on that weekend?
Pardon?
What's the anticipated horse traffic on that weekend?
It's huge. It's huge. There's probably hundreds. So it's a great big weekend. The campground's full, and there are a lot of people that just come over, like out around me, and they just go down there and ride for the day. They don't even camp there, so.
So there's 2 crossing points.
Yep.
One on Tamarack on the downhill when people would be going downhill, and then the other one is
Coming out of Horseman's Park.
correct. If like on the youth groups in the morning when they would be going, they'd be going 2 laps, 16 miles, 16.4 miles actually, and they would cross those intersections, twice. And you're looking at a group of 15 riders. You have a lead car, you have a motorcycle, making sure that nobody crosses over the yellow line. If they do, they get pulled from the race. They're kicked out. They're done. It's USA Cycling. Correct, but we also have the state road race course over in Lyons, and it's the same scene. Exact same scene. There's no yellow lines, but people get pulled. And they tell them, they say, if you go too far over, you're over halfway across the road, you're pulled. It's done. There's no shoulders either. And it's the same exact thing.
Is there ever gonna be a point where you have solid bikes for, say, a mile?
No.
So it's all small groups?
Well, the biggest group we would have is 30 riders, and even if they're singled up, that's not a mile. This is not a charity ride, like I think the ride in August, you get all these charity rides for muscular dystrophy, you get thousands and thousands of riders in those events, and they're not cyclists that are racers, no offense to them. They're group riders, and they're dangerous in my opinion. They take up roads entirely, and this is not what that is. Even in our biggest race, I would anticipate 30 to 40 riders. And even if you had 40 riders, single file, you're not going to have that.
How long would you think it would, I don't know how fast these guys go, so how long in your biggest group would you think it would take them to pass one of the horse crossing areas?
30 seconds tops. And that's if there was a split in the field, which is with a hill on Little Prairie, that actually makes it a safer race because you're going up a hill. A lot of people are going to get discouraged because they're out of shape and they're going to hurt and they're going to quit. But that's the nature of racing. And when they quit, they go back home and they're done. But even if there's breaks in the field, and we've talked with last week we had suggestions of the walkie-talkies, being able to communicate back and forth, having the police department, hopefully, I've got to call into them to find out what we would need from them, if we could get help monitoring the corners with traffic and whatnot. The fire department said they'd be willing to help. We do have medical staff on hand, but in case something happened and there was another event, the fire department's already volunteered that they want to be notified if anything, they were needed. And we're looking out, our hope is to have this become an annual event. And so the first year obviously is the toughest. And with Memorial Day, even without the cyclists, it's a heavy travel day
It
with
is,
cars.
it really is.
And so even without the cyclists on the road, you're still gonna have heavy traffic with cars.
Yeah. Have you considered doing it a different weekend, since you wanna make it an annual event? Maybe
We
you can have
actually-
your own weekend.
We're doing a multiple day event, for that weekend. If we don't hold it here, we would look at a different course. We've considered Walworth County. We can go down towards LaGrange where they've hosted this event. I don't like that course. It has a 120-degree turn, turning on Young. And if you wanna talk about not safe, I would rather deal with horses and, mountain bikers crossing than that 120-degree turn, because they barrel down that hill and that's just an accident waiting to happen in my book. We can look at that course. There's other courses in other towns we could move to, but it will be that weekend because we have, it's called an Omnium, and we're hosting one race in Milwaukee, and then there's another race in Franklin, I believe, and then this one that we're looking at. And so it's considered like a stage race is what we're trying to do through USA Cycling.
Would you have a monitor at the horse crossings that you could let
Oh, yeah.
somebody know that there are, bikes
Absolutely.
are a minute away or something?
Yeah, and that's where we wanted to have the walkie-talkies, because if we're gonna have people at every intersection. And so at every point during the race, we will go to control, here's where they're at, here's what's happening, and we can say they're 3 minutes out, and we can let people know if they're getting ready. If we see a trailer loading up, we can say, in 3 minutes, there's a group coming through, but then you'll have 20 minutes. Or if they get in front, we can help them get out onto the road, because I've seen these. I live over on A and I ride these roads all the time.
How many total riders?
We're hoping for 300 to 400. And that's our goal.
But there's 10 groups.
Oh, yes, yeah, if you see the schedule, it starts at 8 o'clock in the morning, and there's two races. There's the junior boys 15 to 18 and the junior boys under 15, and they're doing 2 laps. And they're on the course, and so you have them, we have 2 races at that point to worry about. And then they're off, and then there's a break, and then the next groups go out.
Okay.
And so they're crossing, and once they cross and get past in through town and on a little prairie, it should be smooth sailing at that point. So we have 4-way stop, all traffic stop, the roads are open. And so they can pass the cyclists, and we'll have a follow-up vehicle with wheels in the back it's a van, it's a white van, with wheels if somebody flats, so they can get back in the race, but it'll have its hazards on with race ahead, and, people can get around that, and there'll be a lead car or a motorcycle a lot of times. The motorcycles will be the judges pulling people if they're doing things that aren't correct, crossing over the halfway point. It's a USA Cycling sanctioned event, and they when you do these sanctioned events, you pay for the judges, the insurance, and everything, so you have this protection. And they come in, it should be well run event.
So what you're saying is there would never be more than 30 seconds that the horses would have to stop and wait for people to get through, and then they would have how long to get across the road?
Roughly 20 minutes for the fastest group, so the slower ones would be a longer gap than that.
Okay,
So
so
20 minutes is based on 25 miles an hour average speed, which is,
That's the faster guys
that's the
later
fast,
in the
that's
day.
the fast.
The kids, you're gonna be looking at 30 minutes.
I think we've got some people that came tonight that want to be heard. And so, I guess, the question is, how quickly do you guys need an answer?
Well, we're meeting with the village again on the 1st of this next month.
The first of April.
The first Monday, yeah, and so I would think that if we can get, the main thing we need is to have the permission for the roads. We're an organization of 62 masters-only racers, so the youngest people in our race organization is 35. And so we have a lot of volunteers, and it's our job to host, to make sure everything's covered, so that this can happen next year is our goal. I would say by next month, because if we have to get a different course, we need to move.
What's our meeting date next month?
13th, I believe.
Until the 15th?
I think so. I don't have a.
I think you're right. Yeah, the 13th. The 13th would be too late for you then.
April,
Yeah,
it's cutting it close, because that gives us,
Close or too late, we need an answer.
it'd be too late.
Too late.
I know this is highly irregular, but if one of the people with the horses, with the rest of the board's permission, if they'd have any questions that would maybe allay some of their fears, we could ask one of them to speak now.
It's okay with me.
If it's
The
So
chairman.
someone signed up for public comment?
Someone that signed up for public comment, that's
Anyone
why
wanting to comment on this? Signed
that's
up
why
for
you
public
signed up
comment?
for it, correct?
Okay. Go ahead, or-
Well, I'm concerned for the safety, of course, of people going in and out of Horse Riders Park. And all bike races I've seen have not been, they've been really like massive groups. And when I saw possibly 500 people
Like what?
racing through here,
I'm sorry, but what races?
just like when I've been in Milwaukee for the big bike races and things like that, I'm just
Oh,
thinking
totally.
of packs of
Yeah.
people going down this road. But if I'm hearing you right, you're saying they're riding single file?
We have Tour of America's Dairyland, it's probably, those are huge races where the participation is, that's a national event.
Insane.
This is a regional event. We are not, at Tour of America's Dairyland, it's an amazing, incredible event. I've done it for years, actually, and before that it was Super Week. And that's a national event, even you'll have Colombians, Brazilians coming into Wisconsin to race. This is not that. This is a regional, Wisconsin race.
Okay, but how are they riding? They're not riding side by side, they're riding all single file?
No, they're not, it's a fluctuating, an example of this would be going up Little Prairie, they're going to be like this. The fast guys are gonna be leading, everyone's gonna be trying to draft, and they're going uphill. They're
Right.
gonna be trying to survive. When they get on the flat, if somebody's passing, they're gonna be passing each other.
You talk about passing, so are they essentially though riding most of the course single file, not 6 wide?
They have half the road to race on.
Because I'm just looking at the rigs coming in and out of Horseman's Park
Correct.
there. Even just that alone, I think, because these things can't stop that fast.
Well, and that's why we have to, we would have to have people monitoring it, and we actually would have signs in advance. So when people are coming in, the roads are open, they only have half, but even when there's cars behind, you know, the cars will pass. Because the cyclists at best going up the hill are gonna be going tops 20 miles an hour up that hill. And over the crest, there's a long flat, and you can see they can pass. And, you know, then there's a little rise, and then, you know, there is a little area up there that's harder to see, you know, the rigs, but, if the group's going even at 18 to 20, you know, it would be 2 minutes before they're at stop sign, and then they're out of the race course. But they have half the road to race on, and the roads are kept open the whole time. The idea of having the people at the entrance and exit is, say they're coming off Wilson, they're 20 seconds away, the cyclists are, and you would say, you know, we have 20 seconds, and then you can get on the course and pass the group. It's to keep them informed,
Mhm.
you know, and as long as, I think as everyone is aware, I mean, that's why we're trying to do this now, so that we have plenty of time to notify people well in advance.
And your starting point is, your intended starting point is where?
Over by the cemetery was where the race, and that's, we can change that, but it was going to be originally by the cemetery, starting off, and that'd be the start and finish, because our goal was to try and get people in town spending money. And that way they can do that. It would also be cool to have an uphill finish and then be done, but then they're away from the town, or they're just gonna get in their car and leave. You know, if we can't have the benefits to the businesses, I don't know if we'll be able to do this again next year. So we've been in contact with a couple businesses that have talked about helping, you know, giving samples and doing, you know, maybe coupons, you know, and getting people to know about these local area businesses, because there's some cool things around.
Well, and I appreciate all that, but like I said, I mean, horses are unpredictable, and
And that's my biggest concern, with being
you
a
don't want
race,
somebody to die.
and where they're, like, say you have horses crossing Little Prairie Road or horses crossing Tamarack Road, horses can freak out. You have this group of 30, 40 bikes whizzing by, they're not gonna wanna stop. So
but even without this race, there's still going to be cyclists on the road.
True, but
I-
they're not in a race mentality, so maybe they'll be looking and they'll see this horse freak out, say, hey, maybe we should slow down.
Well, that's more on the horse training, in my opinion, because I don't know what to say to that.
You can't train.
Well, and you can't regulate horse training, and I get that, but at the same hand, you don't wanna set something up
It's a
for.
1,200-pound animal with a brain the size of a pea, so there's only so much you can do. And we ride them, so we're not much smarter. You know, these campsites at Horseman's Park, the reservable ones have been reserved for a year.
Yeah,
They're reserved a year in advance. So the people made their plans to come here a year ago.
How are they gonna feel about that?
But I mean, it doesn't sound like it's that big a deal, 'cause it's not a huge massive ice. But you said there's gonna be, like, so the first two are gonna be on at the same time.
Oh, yes.
So the first two groups, the juniors?
They're just making stuff today.
Right, but,
but
so
then you
they're gonna
said,
be on some, but now, then there's gonna be, so two categories on at a time for the
Correct.
support.
and
A maximum of 60 people then?
Yeah, but they're
There's
split up
30 in
into
each group?
two, yeah. Like,
So then you,
Have
so then you cut
30
your cycle
each.
time in half, instead of every 20 minutes, it might be every 10 minutes.
no, because they're 5 minutes apart. I mean, if they're 5 minutes apart, they're gonna be, and the way they're racing, they'll be within, 5 minutes of each other.
So you said there's gonna be one group going out, and then it'll be 20 minutes before they come back again. But
Correct,
if there's two groups doing laps,
correct,
right, so you're gonna have a group and then 5 minutes and then a group, and then
correct.
maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah, so 20 and 25 minutes, however you wanna look at it.
well. Looking at me, Larry. I noticed that. I guess I'm certainly no bicycle expert, I don't know anything about these races, and I'm probably like a lot of other people in the room who have seen the less than pleasant sight of large groups of bikes on the road where when you ask to come around, they flip you off, and I'm sure this group isn't gonna be like that, but it's
Right.
happened, when people are riding through Calmoraine, right down Tamarack Road, and they take up the whole road, and so obviously it leaves a little,
I've had that happen several times, taking off the whole road, and then I get the finger when I want to pass them.
and it leaves you
And obviously, every group has their
unpleasant
bad
feeling.
people.
I have a question for Jeff, or Steve?
Steve, yeah.
If you have notice, if they tell you 2 minutes before they're gonna be there, would you be able to work around work across the trail or staying back a little bit?
Maybe, but
till-
the problem is, some of these trails kind of come along with, or like the one on Tamarack, and then boom, you're like right there, you got the bicycle, the mountain bike path, cross right there. It's kind of dangerous, there's kind of like where you go uphill to go across the road, and I'm just worried, if a horse happens to freak out there, and you got a big line, and like you said, it's the same thing if you have, I'm not organized ride where you have, 50 or 100 bikes, which I'm not a big fan with Tamarack Road being on a bike path anyways, with the horse trail being right there, but there's really nothing you can do about that. I'm just not a big fan of having more bikes on the road, as I'm a resident on Tamarack Road as well. I guess that's just my biggest fear, is there's a potential for somebody to get hurt.
Would there
And
be,
especially with them coming down Tamarack Road with that hill, I don't know what the top speed of those guys would be, but those guys are probably gonna be way fast.
No faster than a car.
Well, cars go 100.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, I mean, if it's treated exactly like a car, I don't think it's an issue. If a rider was to look and see, the group coming, there's gotta be common sense on all parties.
True.
because there is a possibility a group of motorcycles could go through and do the same thing.
Exactly, there is.
It sounds like it's a well thought out plan. And because they need an answer soon, we have to make a decision.
And my only concern is like, with it being a race, with the mentality of no stopping, they don't stop, they just go. If a group of motorcycles, and I've already heard stories of actually on Tamarack Road, a lady was riding her horse alongside the road and was freaking out, and this whole, I don't know if you told me that, or, I don't know, I heard from the whole group of motorcycles slowed down and to just basically an idle, and just idled by this lady because they saw her horse was freaking out.
But are you crossing Tamarack Road or just walking along?
This specific case was a horse that was actually riding alongside Tamarack Road.
Right,
And a group of bikers noticed what was going on and were very courteous and slowed down.
see, that could happen at any time.
But I think what he's saying is in this case, the bikers
Yeah,
slowed
yeah,
down.
I understand that.
And the racers don't slow down,
Correct.
apparently, is his concern.
But if there's a horse freaking, they're gonna slow down
They're
anyway.
gonna slow down. There were some horses that got loose on Greening one time, when we were on a group ride, that I was on. And guaranteed, every single one of those cyclists stopped.
A group ride or a race?
Oh, it was a group ride. It was a group ride. But if you get a horse running across a road, I'm sorry, even if I'm in a race, I'm probably going to put on the brakes.
If something were to be going on and you were radioed back that you gotta stop, would you stop?
Yeah, we would have to radio to the lead car, and we'd neutralize the race at that point. Absolutely. And we had those precautions in place in case of emergency. Say something happened, and a car accident or anything. You neutralize the race, and it stopped right there. You pull over the side of the roads, and it stopped. You have to. It's a beautiful race course. I know it's not ideal being on that weekend at this point. There's very limited race dates available as a club through Wisconsin Cycling. And these dates were available to us, and so we grabbed them with the hope before we knew that the big campground, was gonna be.
And we're not trying to hog, we welcome, but we just, just trying to,
Coexist.
right, the safety is the main thing,
Yeah, well, and the safety, it's just.
Right, and I guess the problem is that there's so many people now that have absolutely no idea, know nothing about horses, not back 50 years ago where everybody knew a little something about horses. A couple of years ago, my mom and I were riding on just outside the S Trails in Eagle, and we happened upon they were doing a race, that they were running on the horse trails. And we actually, people coming, running up like right behind us and making comments about, what are you doing on this trail, you shouldn't be here, and it's like, this is a horse trail. And we ran into a couple people and we stopped and, they wanna take our picture and stuff like that, cause they never seen a horse before. We're like, did you guys know this is on a horse trail? We're like, well, we were kinda wondering that when we were seeing, horse apples all over the place. And you would've thought maybe the organizer of this event would've let people know that there were horses on this trail and how to approach them and stuff like that. Just for their own safety, I don't know if that is something you could do with your group and, have a plan, say if you see horses freaking out or something like that, slow down or stop or just to cover that
Educate your riders.
a little bit. Cause when I was on that ride, I had horse, they're very vulnerable from the backside, horses, they're scared, they're prey animals, so
Yeah.
that's their blind spot. And we had people running up right behind them and coming like this close.
They wanna get kicked.
And it's like, seriously? And then they would choose to say, hey, I'm back here, 6 feet behind the horse. And that's the danger, that's where you get kicked and you're gonna die. So,
Well, I know the horse trails, they cross Highway 12 and 59, Highway 59, which are much busier roads than these two. And so, if we can manage this, I think this is a good spot to, I understand the Tamarack is the way, I know that road very well.
right, it's curved there.
Yeah. But we can put signs in advance, we can do everything proactive. I don't know if it will be 100%, I'm sure somebody's gonna be upset at the end of the day. Even if we had the race, there's gonna be somebody. I mean, our goal is if we can have I said this last week, if I could have 85 to 92% approval rating from the surrounding area, I would be ecstatic with that. I mean, because somebody's gonna wanna rush out at one point, and we're gonna hold them up, and they're gonna be upset. I mean, that's inevitable. If this happens, and there's a big trailer, and those trailers, they're gonna take up both sides when they pull out,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And it's only a 2-lane road, so, I mean, for the matter of safety of everybody involved, we would, say 30 seconds, and then you could pass.
Right.
I can't guarantee they're not gonna be upset, but I can tell you they're gonna be safe.
I would hope most people are probably gonna be there by 10 o'clock, I would think. And what time do you plan on being done?
Oh, we'd be done by 4:30?
Okay.
To be from 8 till 4?
I'm sorry?
From 8 till 4?
Yes, there's some breaks that are built in, so the course would be clear, and there would be, people can come and go as they need during those times. We don't want 300 to 500, that was our main goal, is not having 300 to 400 people on the road at one time. If you have 200 two groups of 15 to 30, it's controllable.
Are you guys back there
I
comfortable
think,
with
I think
trying
I'm
that
comfortable
this
with that,
year?
I think, I don't know if you know Ada, you've been in contact with Ada? or
I've been in
friends?
contact with her, and I've been emailing her information. I have no problem, working with anybody, and the people, especially at those sections or before, you know, that we could radio ahead so that the horse riders,
Mhm.
because the trailers, I think that's gonna be fine. Getting in and out, that's, we can manage that. The horses, and I told Ada that might be irritating.
Mhm. Right.
Do you think possibly if they, you know, they wanna do it next year, like if they did it this year and it didn't work, just won't have it anymore? Like,
I guess my theory, what you can always do is, you know, the trailer's pulling out, it's gonna be a big deal, but everybody, you can always just put signs there and cut off that whole side of the park for a day. But how are people gonna feel, you know, if they wanted to go over their ride there, I guess, yeah, they could go one way the other day or whatever, but it's, you know, basically, depending on how big it is, if the event grows and grows, or if it's bad and it's a pain, if you're cutting off half the park, I'm just, you know, wondering how that's gonna be, but I think we should give it a try for this year. I don't, really, you know, I like his attitude. You know,
well,
also with
if
the-
they
everything,
wanna come back next year, they'll make it work, I
Right,
think,
so,
Well, yeah, that's my point. I mean,
you know.
I think if we can make sure that all of those different crossing points are well manned and
we can do that. I mean, we have the manpower to do that. I need to make sure it's the right people, and we can make sure they're trained a little bit, you know.
and then there's actually one other crossing, it's a very minimal, you might not see any horses there, but it's actually the corner of Young and Tamarack. There is a horse trail, access trail right there, so the local people that live around there,
Okay.
Rick Edge with Lawmaker.
Okay.
it's right on the corner there. So you might see horses at that intersection as well, especially if I'm gonna be riding that weekend. 'Cause I live right on the corner there.
Yeah, no, I know where that's at, yeah. But we would, that corner, I mean, it would be one more. Anywhere that there's a four-way stop, we're looking to either have police with
Right.
our guys there, you know, to help everything. I mean, so it's,
Or just bring up where you might, you know, see
Yeah.
some, another crossing where you might see some horses.
I know exactly.
Well, if these guys seem comfortable with trying it this year, then I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve it for this year. And ask you guys to please contact Ada and some of the others and work with them closely.
I have that.
Okay,
That's my-
and just be sure we have a safe year.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to allow this bike ride for this year, and is there any other discussion? All in favor?
You guys are okay with that?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Discussion and action on the bike ride through the town of Palmyra, August 15, what's this?
It's June 27th.
What's that?
It's June 27th. Yeah,
June?
that's the wrong date. He told me August, then he told me June.
Okay.
After I typed this up. Yeah, it's on a Saturday, I believe. I talked to him this morning, he was gonna email me the information, I have very little information from him, but, so I don't think we're gonna be able to do anything today, but he said they're gonna be using a very minimal part of the township to come up, and it'll end up over at the beach park, where they're gonna end up, they'd only be coming through town, but he did say it's a 100-mile ride.
Well, I'm gonna make a motion to table that till the April meeting when we have more information.
I second that.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to table the bike ride for June 27th until we have more information. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Discussion and action on insurance.
I've been working with Don, getting the insurance split for the town and the airport, and I haven't gotten any answers yet. So, our town insurance runs out on the 11th of April, but that, we can pay that bill and work out the stuff for the airport as it goes, because that doesn't run out till the end of June. The only thing we wouldn't have is insurance on Don's building and the equipment. The liability insurance on the airport runs till the end of June. So if we just do the town, that would be the town hall and the liability on the board members and the workman's comp on the board members. And that would be the same rates as last year with Earl. And I'm getting a quote on that from Johnson also. So, but that I haven't gotten yet. She promised me she'd have it today and she didn't. She said it won't be there till tomorrow because her computer was down.
So do you wanna wait to act on this then?
There's nothing to act on. It's a bill that we're gonna have to pay somewhere along the line, so we'll go with whatever's the best rate. And if we split the airport and we can put it all on Johnson Insurance and just have rural for the town, then it simplify everything. And that would take care of the new hangar.
Okay.
And the cost of the new hangar is about $1,200 for insurance.